Three, two, one. Here we go. We are live once again. Hello out there. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Welcome to another episode of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
Tim.
Welcome back once again to, like I said, another episode. We've got a lot to get through this week because we are trying to play a bit of catch up because we missed a spot the other week, and so and there was a busier week. So we're trying to play a bit of catch up. So tonight we're going to review the latest from Greta Van Fleet, Wednesday 13, and the Vintage Caravan, as well as the latest from local band Lagerstein. We'll have a hot topic in a second and all the usual stuff. Make sure you check out our sponsors. A big thank you to them in Squidding, Screen Printing, Alt, Colt, and Rockstar Finance. They give us a lot of support. Their details, as well as ours, are in the description of this. So make sure you're following us, follow them. Get onto all the stuff. If you're watching this on repeat later on, well, then thanks for tuning in. And if you're listening on Spotify later on too, thanks for doing that as well. However you enjoy the program, thank you for joining us once again. That's all the preamble stuff usually covered off. I'm not going to go into too much detail. We've got a bit to get through tonight. So first things first, as we always do. How you going, Dave?
Yeah, I'm good. After last taping, just settled back into working and listening to lots of music. It's been a very busy week in terms of album releases.
Yeah.
It's sport for choice, really. Got the ones done for this week and for the reviews. And Liquid Tension had an album out. Was listening to that. And, of course, it's just stuff that you want to listen to because it's cool. So heaps of music, lots of wrestling. That's life.
It's not a bad way to look at it.
Yeah.
How about you, Tim?
Yeah, pretty much the same, to be honest.
Yeah.
Lots of wrestling and new music. I've got about the 50th run of the new Cannibal Corpse album so far. So, yeah.
In for a review soon, will I, Tim?
Yeah, if you want to. I mean,
or are you going to pick it for a torture album in January?
No, I've got ideas for torture albums in January. I've tried metal albums, but you guys seem to have gotten used to it. So we've got to do something different.
Well, there was a few from last week, like that Cannibal Corpse one, the Liquid Tension experiment. You both mentioned they were both trying to get through a few of those in the next few weeks over time, I guess. We have our first comment. Dean's jumped in from Facebook. Hello again, Dean. Thanks for joining us. You're a regular. Yeah. So cheers for joining us. All is well. I think overall we have been pretty good. We've just been busy, as always, I think is the way we tend to look at it. I don't know. Was there anything else you wanted to say there, Tim, before I cut you off?
No, man. How are you?
I'm all right. Just knackered this week. So if I'm not at my best tonight, then forgive me. I've had a very, very big week. We filmed our Michael Gudinski special on Sunday, which is why we didn't do a broadcast. We filmed it on Sunday. So a lot of work preparing for that, and then that whole needed to be edited in for TV broadcasts by last night. So I got to bed about 1 o'clock this morning before jumping up and going off to work again, and haven't had any rest since. So if I'm not quite at my best, forgive me today. It's just been a long 3 or 4 days. I might try and sleep tomorrow night, I think. We'll see how we go. But aside from that, everything's good. Just busy. And now that, we're into the swing of things after Easter, it's, the way it is. So we're already planning our next special, which is to do with grunge. So that'll be the end of May. And that'll be a lot of fun. We'll film that well and truly before then, though. So we're hoping to do this one. Actually, I'm probably going to jinx it again, but I'm knock on wood this time and say we should be doing that one on the set. We'll break in the new set and we'll have some fun with it. Dave mentioned doing a table lettuce chairs match while doing the grunge special. It's a little heated, but we will see how we go. But no, everything's good overall. Getting some more comments here. So Nudes is joining us once again. Thank you for jumping in. Hey, guys. So thank you for joining us. I think you might be happy with a bit of a sneak peek later on at the end of the episode, Nudes. So hopefully you can stick around for that. And Helen DiMartino, another regular of ours. Thank you for tuning in again. Missed you last week. Cheap trick. My mate Dax is the drummer who has built a big buggery studio in Rockford. Good bloke. Nice. Cool. There we go. Bit of insider knowledge there. Awesome. Cool. Well, we do have a hot topic, as always.
How big is buggery?
Well, that is the real question, isn't it?
There's a hot topic. How big is buggery?
All right. Okay. For those playing along at home, if you know how big Buggery is, let us know in the comments as we go through that. This will be interesting if we get a few comments.
I'll throw my name in the hat and say shitload +1.
A gazillion angry Mexicans, big enough for that?
We have to ask them.
For those who don't know, a gazillion angry Mexicans is a local band, so I was playing on words there. Mark Robbins, another good friend of ours. Hello, Mark has jumped in. Hey, Blow Scrunch special. Yes, that is coming at the end of May, so get ready for that one.
You might want to hurt me afterwards.
It can't be all bad, surely, Dave.
No, I'll be fair, and you might surprise you. It'll be interesting. I haven't heard a lot of these albums in 20, 30 years.
I'll be locking down the final review tonight after this, I think, or first thing tomorrow, and we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, that playlist will be set up for us all to go through, and we'll be filming that relatively early in May to get it over and done with. That way I'm not getting any sleep in the last week of the month like this one. All right. So today's hot topic to get things or keep things moving along is all to do with, it's been raised before in the past about double vinyl. And a lot of bands now are going down the path of a double vinyl where it's like 3 or 4 tracks per side and you get 2 discs worth of music that way. But my question on that is that, is it really worth it to go down the path of bands doing the double vinyl release? I know you got the sound quality stuff, but is the idea now with your So Sport for Choice and Spotify and you can get up and do whatever you want, that sitting down to flip an album over 3 or 4 times to listen to it, is that a bit too much, or am I just being stupid? Tim, how about you go first on this one?
I think if you're into vinyl collecting, then convenience is not your deal.
Yeah, true.
I think if you're going down that rabbit hole and you're going down that rabbit hole for a specific purpose, that's not necessarily making life as easy for yourself.
Yeah.
Because I think if we're looking for convenience, we've got other options there. So,
yeah.
I would be opposed to a double vinyl just because I think it's a lot of music to take in one sitting. For me personally, but as far as apart from that, I mean, if you're going to spend the money, then I don't think it's going to be a deterrent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good point. I hadn't even thought of it from that point of view. So yeah, this is why we do these conversations. Dave, what are your thoughts on it all?
I think it depends on the band and their style of music and the genre of music in general. Because take a band like 2 of my personal favorites, Nightwish and Dream Theater, they don't release short albums. So if they're going to do a vinyl, it's going to have to be a double vinyl package. And if you're a fan of that band and you want the vinyl experience, it's not going to really matter, as Tim was saying, if you're not really going for convenience, if you're going for vinyl. If you do want physical and you want physical copy, there's always CD. If you want the convenience, you get the best of both worlds, I guess. But vinyl isn't cheap. So if you are committed to having a vinyl collection and buying your favorite albums, I just reserve vinyl for favorites. It's not main CDs is the main collection, the vinyls for the favorites. So if you want your favorite album to get that vinyl experience, then it comes down to the length of the album and the bands that you're listening to ultimately.
Yeah.
But and whatever cool packaging they have with it as well. So I think if you're a fan and you're into vinyl, then double albums are cool. I
do wonder about the price point difference between just buying a regular vinyl as a fan versus buying the double vinyl, especially at the moment where some albums are going pretty high, which is okay. I understand why vinyl is expensive because it's a good medium to have and you can do a lot with it. I think that especially, I don't know if it's really viable for local bands to do it versus big bands. But for bigger bands doing it, I'd like to see them throw in, you'd want to make sure for mine that if you're going to do that sort of stuff to make it worth the coin, have a couple of bonus tracks on there that are only on the vinyl and don't get released on Spotify and that, have your bonus tracks on that format. That way you're justifying the use of the space and giving people a reason to get to the end of it, kind of a thing for me. But also make sure you're adding in some really fucking good artwork in there too. I'd like to see, actual full-blown booklets and that sort of stuff. You get your lyric sheets and all that stuff like normal, but, have some artwork in there to make it really sort of the bang for buck aspect in that context of mine. If you're going to listen to it, Tim and yourself, David, nailed it. I think if you are a vinyl person, the convenience side of things isn't going to bother you, but I do wonder about, because CDs are declining in sales and vinyl is increasing as a medium, that, if you only offer a double vinyl and not a regular vinyl, you might price yourself out of a lot of that market that might be willing to take a punt on buying vinyl to support you versus a T-shirt kind of a thing. If you do a double vinyl versus a single vinyl, there's a decision to be made there. And I think in that context, it does have an impact. But if you're a big enough band, you're not going to care anyway. So I don't really know. If you Dream Theater or Nightwish or whatever else have you, you could have a 6-disc set and people are still going to buy it because the fan base is loyal and established. I think it's, probably Metallica did it and they can get away with anything. Same with Kiss, So there are certain bands that will get away with it pretty comfortably, others not so much. But it's an interesting one. So I don't know. What the hell? Okay. Just comments jumped up really quickly there. Okay, cool. So let me go back through this for a second. You'll see why I've gone, for a second there. Because Sally is a good friend of ours. Hey, Sal, she's jumped in to say hey. So that's the first off the rack. Thank you for joining us there, Sally. And Helen's jumped in again to say, geez, fellas, we gals sit for hours getting our bits and bobs tweezed and plucked and shit, and you got issues about double vinyl. For fuck's sake.
So I fully understand. I kind of work in the industry.
Yeah, it's the double buggery of music releases.
So there we go. That's a good point. I do appreciate that point. What have we got? Sally's gone, yes, the artwork. So people are liking the artwork idea, which is cool. And Valerie, thank you for joining us. I'm not sure how many times you've joined us. This might be a first for you. Maybe I don't recall seeing the name jump in for a comment. But DAD, Prayer for the Loud is killer on vinyl. The artwork is great. Yes, cool. Nice. And Helen's jumped back to say soft as. Yes, we are. And Sally's gone, Helen's funny. Yes, we all agree. So thank you once again for piping in and giving us some enjoyment. For you out there, let us know if you are willing to pay part with your hard-earned to buy double vinyl, or if you prefer single vinyl, or if we're just a bunch of fuckwits, and just let us know that as well. We're happy to take any little feedback on board for a bit of fun. Now, does anyone have any other bits and pieces I'd like to add to that conversation before we move on to our first review for the night, or are we going to wrap it up there?
It was a slow news week.
It was a slow news week, yeah.
Just let us know what cool vinyl they got. Any cool double packages, special editions. Send pictures, describe them, tell us. Be cool.
Yeah.
Actually, that's cool. We'll make it if people start doing that, we'll make a thread out of it all too, and get it all displayed on the page and stuff like that too. That'd be cool. Good idea there, Dave. It wasn't an entirely slow news week. I do have to say one thing. We did get nominated for an Antenna Award for the first time in 10 years. So it's the third or fourth time around they've happened since we've been on TV. So we finally got a nomination. So thanks to those involved in community TV for thinking of us in that regard. It's nice to get a little bit of a recognition after all this time. It's June next year is 10 years on TV. So we just had the 10th birthday of the Hard Rock Show a couple of days ago. The actual official birthday of the Hard Rock Show was a couple of days ago, 20th, I think it was. And then, on June the 12th, I think next year is 10 years on TV. That's how long we've been doing this silly shit for. And, we got a bit of a nod. So, cheers. I honestly did not expect it. So, when I got a Twitter notification, that's how I found out. And I was like, you're fucking kidding, right? So, there we go. There's a backstory. I'll tell it one day, just not today.
They tagged you by mistake, and by the time they sent it, it was too late.
Well played. Well played. Oh, fuck. Here we go. Ellen's jumped in again saying, mate has a bootleg of Dylan's first ever gig in his attic. No shit. Wow. Okay. Wow. That'd be pretty cool. Any bootlegs out there would be interesting on vinyl too. That's another aspect of that whole conversation. Okay, there's a bit more to dig into in that one. We'll see what happens in the comments, but we'll go on to a review. While Tim keeps roasting me about the antenna awards. Okay, keeping with the theme of being drunk and stupid, we're going to go to our first review tonight, and that is Lagerstein with Live in Brisbane. This is 20 tracks for 98 minutes. This is the first ever live show from the Australian band, shot in HD and released. Dave's very excited, and released as both an album and a DVD. Filmed at the Triffid, produced by Frederick Nordstrom Audio Wise, directed by Crackerjack Studios Video Wise. This was released April 2021 via Keg Stand Records. So, like I said, the band's first ever full-blown live show captured for DVD audiences. Dave, I know you're a big fan, so how'd you go?
Pirate metal, fuck yeah. I love this band. I have never had the pleasure of seeing them live. I always felt just by listening to their music that they would be a hell of a lot of fun. Yeah. And this live album shows that perfectly. This is the next best thing to actually be in there. It's captured really well. You get the right balance between the band and the audience. The banter between the singer and the audience between songs and during the songs is fantastic. The set list covers tracks from all three of their albums, and I was just looking at the set list before I listened to it. It just gave me a satisfied smile. So I knew this is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. That song, yes. This is going to be cool. It's going to be even better live. If you're familiar with this band, you know what you're going to get. If you don't know this band, grab a bottle of rum and listen to this. This is a cool place to start.
Actually,
that's good. Yeah. They're a fun party band. Obviously, they don't take themselves too seriously, but they certainly know how to play, and they can write engaging songs. Most of the time listening to this, it just brings out the inner pirate. You're not sitting there listening for musicianship, but if you actually calm down a bit and listen to it sober, you'll actually appreciate they've got some fucking chops. They can write some great hooks. They're tight players, and they've got fantastic.
I'm sorry. Hooks. All I can think of right now is you drunken karaoke in your pirate outfit. That's all I can think of right now.
Pirate outfit, but you should see me dancing with my kids. And Julia, you put the Shuey song on, the whole house just comes alive.
I know your kids love Shuey's song. Yeah.
Oh man, and Digberry drink.
You're raising him well, mate.
I am. It's like I can't confirm though. I'm looking forward to it, but I can't. Just make the older shit. I love how they get the audience involved in this. You got port side on one side and starboard side on the other, just one off each other. And getting the crowd to do shoeries and the whole Wheel of Fortune wheel during German fun times.
Yeah.
It's awesome how the singer also gets down into the audience during the slower song, Drink Till We Die. And if you know the band, if you know the song, The Party Parrot, there's little clips on Spotify. When you're listening to it, you can see little clips from the DVD. And the Party Parrot actually appears on stage.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
There's that 4 videos from this on YouTube at the moment as well, if you want to go check it out.
I just got to order the DVD. I just got to see this whole thing.
Yeah.
Good Saturday night watching the DVD getting drunk. I give this 10 shoeys out of 10, and I can't stand out. The whole thing is amazing. Just buy it, listen to it, whatever you need to do. Get on it. Great.
Cool. For those playing along at home, in the description of this, you'll find a link to their song Dreaded Skies live in Brisbane. We've also put the link in the comments now as well for people to go and check it out if you feel inclined. Tim, what do you make of this album?
I have seen this band live.
Yes.
And it is a accurate representation of their live show.
Cool.
Like for me, when I'm listening to live, I really like live albums, bootlegs, and recordings, and rehearsal recordings and things like that. And what I look for in them is I want to hear what a band sounds like when they're just being a band. And you take, because a studio is like this magical universe where you can do whatever you want. When you play it live, that's when you find out how good you are.
Yeah,
and these guys are a really good band. They sound great. They play together great. But you can also hear the little details where where you can you can hear them looking at each other, giving each other visual cues as to when to. It's so cool listening to those kind of little things. And if you're a Lagerstein fan, you should definitely check this out. If you've seen them live, if you haven't seen them live before, it'll give you that kind of experience is what it is like to see them live. And if you have seen them live before, it is a great little nostalgia thing as well, and everything's recorded great. Everything sounds great. So yeah, this is a good release from them.
Cool.
I thought the live version of Slock and the Rum was great, but I also liked that. What's it called? That fucking Down Under got a run too.
Oh yeah, the cover song. Yep.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, 9 out of 10. This is easily one of my favorite Australian bands.
Beautiful. Well, for mine, I haven't seen the band live before, and the main thing about these sorts of albums is you want them to convince you to go and see them live, and that's what this one does. And it's one thing if it's a band you haven't seen and they're not active anymore, you know you've missed out on something. So 10 years from now, 20 years from now, this will be one of those albums. But right now, while they're still active, it goes, fuck, I wish I was at that show. I'm going to make sure I come and see them next time they're in my neck of the woods. So this is a hell of a lot of fun. I've been a fan of the band for a little while. We've covered pretty much all their stuff on the show in some way, shape, or form. And this is a really good mix of all their albums to date as well. That set list is fucking brilliant. It flows so bloody well. And it's over an hour and a half long, and it does not feel like it. This thing flies by. The energy is great. The way they've used your track list or your set list, the peaks and troughs in this thing are awesome. They stick, Pina Colada Paradise in just the right place. And they got the guest vocal up for that too, which is really cool. They play into the whole shtick, calling her a wench and all that sort of stuff. And it's all a big, fun game. But the performances were great. Everything was nailed. The set list was brilliant. And the moment you mentioned there before, Dave, where, gets down, sits down in the middle of the crowd telling a story about, how someone broke his heart once, and then he goes off on another joke saying, oh, it doesn't matter, there's plenty after that. And all that is really cool. And how you can, even though you're not there, I haven't seen it on DVD or anything yet, but the Wall of Death moment was really cool. And, he's pointing at individuals going, okay, you're keen to die kind of thing by standing in the middle of the room. And, having that, left versus right war in the crowd room and stuff, and having people on the stage egg the different, it was for the whole night. It wasn't just at one point. There was this little mini war going for the whole show, which is fantastic. The banter, the chatting, the games, Neil of Fortune was an absolute piss cake. I don't know. It's well produced. It's well captured. The videos I have seen look great as well. The whole thing is incredibly well put together. It's a good package, this one. And for me, I liked how it was a little bit real. I don't think they did any overdubs on this. I think they just got the real thing and put it out there for everyone to enjoy, which is cool. I don't want a live show to be perfect. I want to hear some bits and pieces. And getting the crowd involved was, the audio levels and that, and there was none of those silly cutout fails the whole show all the way through, which is really cool. I really, really enjoyed it. It was good. I think I might have dropped out for half a second there, but I'm back now, I think. But anyway, it's a longer one for sure, but it does not feel like it. This is well worth your time if you like live albums, if you like pirate metal, or if you just want to have something that's a bit of fun, that's really, really entertaining. This is a good record for that. 9 out of 10 from me as well. I really did enjoy this one. It doesn't matter what system you're listening to it on either. It just comes across really well. That infectiousness is there permanently, no matter how you listen to it. If it's casually or if you go to deep dive, it's great. 9 out of 10. Digberry Drink, Shoey Song, Wench My Thirst, Drink the Rum. But there are so many on this. You could write off pretty much the whole album as being a standout thing. It's just a fucking hilarious ride. I love it. Well done to the guys in that one. Well, here we go. Getting some comments here. All right. So, Helen DiMartino, she's on fire tonight. Lagerstein, Dinkies, Deco Pirates. Okay. But the next one is not seeing them live, neither should you. Refund anyone. Yep. I want to see them so badly. All right. Darren Blacker, loves only with you guys. Been watching the show from the early days. Not enough passion in the world now. Fuck COVID. Thank you for sticking with us for so long, Darren. Good to have you joining us on the stream. It's a different way of doing things. We've just started doing these sorts of ones, but yeah, they're going pretty well, and it's awesome to see long-time viewers from the TV side of things, especially jumping over and joining us in the online world. That's important. So thank you for that. Sally, okay, you got me. Have to see it / hear it. Yes, well worth looking out. Go and do that. And Ross Taylor's jumped in as well. So hello, Ross. Thank you for joining us. Great listening. I'm an old prick who hasn't listened to thrash speed metal since the mid-90s. What is the band closest to Overkill, Testament, and Megadeth that's around now? Ooh.
I would say Power Trip, but they're no longer around.
Yeah.
The singer passed away a few months ago. Check out Insanity Alert.
Yes. That'd be one, definitely. What do you think, Dave? Anything pop to mind for you?
New Mr. Bungle album.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good choice. Yeah.
Be surprised if you know Bungle from back in the 90s compared to what it is.
Yeah.
The other one is Mason, a great. Harlot, a great.
Darren's
and and there's another band called Havoc.
Yes.
That are pretty damn awesome as well.
They're cool. Tough, our good friend on YouTube has joined in and said these streams rock. So there we go. Thank you for joining us again on YouTube. Darren Humphries has also mentioned Warbringer.
Yeah, they're a good band too.
There's some good ones out there. So hopefully that helps you out there, Ross. Hopefully that does help you out. Helen's gone, what a random question. Yes, that's why we do these things live, and we have fun enjoying these questions as they pop up. So we'll see if we can get to everyone. If we don't, I apologize in advance. We're getting more and more of these, which is cool. So I like having the comments. We like taking a break to do that. And Tough has jumped in and gone, I type Thrashman on this site and get a lot of epic thrash stuff. He does on YouTube, yeah. And we do get some cool recommendations from the audience watching as well, which one of those will be coming up in the next episode if I'm getting everything right. But now we'll move on to the next review. And this is one of Dave's favorites, in case you can't tell by the outfit he's wearing tonight. This is Wednesday 13 with Necrophase Antidote. 4 tracks for 15 minutes. It's an EP, obviously. Made up of tracks that were left over from the latest album Necrophase, and also some previously released covers of tracks from INXS and Gary Newman. Released April 2021 by Nuclear Blast, produced by Michael Spritzer. Not a lot of other info, except to say that it features Calico Cooper on the Gary Newman cover of Films. So there's an interesting one. So Dave went first last time. Tim, how'd you go with this one?
Yeah, I was unsure what this was because I was trying to look up information for it. Couldn't find anything. But I know I've heard Your Mother Sucks Cocks in Hell before. Well, I know that was it would have been like some track that was kicking around in like the early YouTube Pirate Bay days. And this is definitely a much better recorded version of it.
Yeah.
And then, obviously the INXS cover and Gary. So I was wondering what, kind of, because I couldn't find shit on this. Yeah. Having said that, it's a good little collection of songs. It's not world beating. It's not anything, that Wednesday 13 haven't done before.
Yeah.
But if you like this band, then check it out because you'll enjoy it. It's what you get out of Wednesday 13, which is, solid hard rock in that kind of horror punk style with some kind of funky, quirky lyrics about, sucking a basketball through a hose.
Yep.
Yeah, 7.5 out of 10. It's a cool listen.
Yep. All right, Dave, if you've got any extra info, you're the big fan, so fill us in with what you know about this one, if there's any more to
that. Firstly, if anyone listening has ever seen a Wednesday 13 show or met the guy, let us know your stories, because that would be cool. I hear he's very approachable and very happy to talk to fans, so I'd love to hear some stories on that.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. As far as the EP goes, this is a very cool little tie between albums. I suppose he couldn't do much last year in COVID, so I was following him on Instagram, so he was keeping up with doing like a Patreon type thing with tier groups. So in the meantime, released what he could. It's great that he's revisiting a few songs from the old Frankenstein drag queens from Planet 13 days, the old band that he had way back in the late 90s when he was just starting out, and he still had eyebrows, which was a very young time for Mr. Wednesday 13. A lot of the songs were reworked for the first Murder Dolls album. So it's cool that he's going back, and there's still a lot more that he could actually play around with. So I don't know if he'll touch on more in the future, but hearing some more reworked of the old songs are pretty cool. I'm glad he kind of stuck to the original horror punk style for, Your Mother Sucks Cocks in Hell and Screwdriver, because Necrophase was really highly produced compared to his earlier stuff. So even though this is marketed as a sequel to that, it's still in the style of his earlier stuff. And it's cool to hear him do that again. If you're a fan of The Exorcist, that's where the idea of Your Mother Sucks Cocks in Hell came from. Yeah. There's still plenty of other dialogue in that he can make other stories out of. And a lot of the Frankenstein 13 drag queens, a lot of it comes from horror movies. So if you're a sick mind like me, you're going to check out the early stuff that he did. There's some fucking great stuff there.
Yeah.
You could say Your Mother Sucks Cocks in Hell is tongue in cheek, but it's more tongue on chin. He's just got that.
Oh god!
The main difference between this recording and the original's got some piano in it, which is really odd, but it works really well.
Okay.
Screwdriver, very similar to the original as well. There's a video coming out for this song.
It's already out.
It's out. Oh,
yeah, it's out now.
There's a preview I saw on Instagram on his page, and it's got like a screwdriver jammed in the mouth. Yeah. So I'm wondering if he's tying these two songs together about ramming things into people's heads. I'm interested to see this video. I'm sure there's a running theme. Devil Inside, great cover. The lyrics fit his style really well. His delivery just brings a whole new sense of menace to the song. I thought it was really well done. Films is interesting. It's a different style for him. It's cool to hear Calico Cooper on that, but it's a bit more movie score and atmospheric. Overall, this is 4 songs that represent past, present, and future Wednesday 13. And like I said, I'd be interested to see where he goes next. I mean, he could revisit more stuff from his past, or he could continue on with the Necrophase style, because that was a step up from everything else he'd done. Or he could move into some movie score work based on the film song. There's lots of options, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be interesting because he likes to push the boundaries, and he's got that quirky humor, which I fucking love. I give this 8 coughs and a spit out of 10. A standout to all.
Right. I think Sally has said it best. She's gone badoom tish, Dave. So there you go. Anyway, sorry. Helen's gone confusion range. That's pretty much normal for us. So now, for those wanting to check out the link for the new song, which is Screwdriver 2, there is a video for that. I'll put it out in the comments, and it's also in the description of this, so go and check that out at your leisure. For me, I liked the grittier vibe this one had compared to Necrophase. I think it actually works well for him. His vocal tone suits that kind of style. You don't want to go polishing up too much; it'll lose its bite, kind of a thing for me. So I like that they've kept it rough, but it all sounds really good. It's all well balanced and all that sort of stuff. It's not overly polished. It's just rounded off a touch, just enough to make it, the whole thing easy to listen to. But his voice cuts through nicer, which is cool. The attitude on it is cool. You can tell that they're reworked and they're modern recordings, all that sort of stuff. But I don't think any of the attitude or the bite's been lost along the way for this sort of stuff. And that all being done with a wink and a nod, or kind of thing. That comes across, which is pretty important for this style of music. If you weren't able to do it that way, it could really fall flat in a lot of respects. And he's done that. He rides that line really well, pretty much all the time. So he does what he does very well. And I think, if anything, he's getting better at it as the years go by, because I've criticized earlier stuff, but the newer stuff has been pretty cool. I like the NXS song. That's they did a very, very good job with that one. And all in all, the opening track too, Your Mother Sucks Cock in Hell, that's fucking hilarious. That's the one where you think people might, you'll either get it or you won't, and that's the point of an EP. This is more for fans. This isn't going to bring anyone new across the table. This is a mix between, giving something new, but also the old bootleg kind of bit of history in there as well. It's got, like Dave said, all the different sort of time frames that he's been doing things in mind, and it's done really well, and it's a good little package. And if you're a fan, it'll make you happy. If you're not a fan or you're not into it, then this isn't going to change your mind. But for me, it's a good little listen, this one. It flies by, really easy to take in, and it's really easy to repeat spin too. So there's not a lot more to it. It's just 15 minutes of, a good time. So check it out. I reckon the covers are good. The film's cover is probably the most interesting one on there. It's good to hear Calico on that one too. But yeah, that one does stand out as being a very different track. So I don't think I've heard him do anything quite like that. I mean, Dave, you're more of a fan than I am, so you tell me if I'm right. I don't think he's done much like that before.
No, first time, I think.
Yeah. So there we go. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I picked Your Mother Sucks Cocks in Hell and Devil Inside as my standouts on this. Like Dave said, if you've got any stories on this, then let us know your thoughts. Well, we have got some comments on this EP, so cool, awesome. Thank you so many of you for jumping in and actually listening to it and jumping into the conversations. Darren Humphreys, the NXS song is bloody heavy. He should have put that on Necrophase instead of the Wasp cover, which was terrible. Dave, how would you respond to that one?
It would have been cool on Necrophase, and I liked his cover of Wasp. I figure since Blackie Lawless isn't doing it anymore, somebody has to fill his shoes, and what better than a sick motherfucker like Wednesday 13?
What else we got in here? Darren Humphreys has jumped in to say, commenting on the EP. Oh, nice detail comment. Cool. Wednesday 13 states, while recording the last record, we had a couple of extra tracks we didn't know what to do with, re-recorded versions of 2 songs from my former band Frankenstein, Drag Queens, and 2 cover songs. The new recorded version of Screwdriver is as loud and energetic as the original from 1998. Your Mother Still Sucks Cocks in Hell was another classic that needed to be heard again. So there we go. That gives us the history of the EP right there. So for those wanting to play along and find the heavy music, Tough Sneezo is jumping on there to find Plague Years. Just found them another one to check out as well. And Helen, she's still with us. NXS held a New Year's Eve party at my house in the 80s. Fucking hell. That would have been wild.
I think Helen may have kissed the bloody stone.
Yeah, I think so. Pretty bloody well with all this. Fucking hell. I'm still waiting for a definition of just how big things are, but we'll we'll see how we get before the end of the night. And Sally has jumped in. Head job humor. What else could you need? Not a lot from us. If you're expecting anything highbrow, you've come to the wrong place.
We'll leave with a sick taste in your mouth.
Oh. Dave is on fire tonight, people. This is what happens when we stream live. So
yeah, this is the stuff that used to get cut out of TV.
That's it. I can't cut it out because we're fucking here doing it live. So you're getting it all, warts and all, folks. So and this is after Julia's warned you, Dave, as well. So this is the
I've forgotten.
All right. Hopefully she's corrected your next homework piece, because the next review we're going to move on to now is the Vintage Caravan. Now, Dave, you've got a story about this band as well. We'll get into that briefly in a moment. But if you've got any stories like Dave's been saying and plugging tonight about the Vintage Caravan, whether it's this album, previous albums, or anything you've seen them live, whatever else, I don't know if you have, they're from Iceland, but anything you want to share, let us know. But this is the Vintage Caravan with Monuments, 11 tracks for 60 minutes, the 5th studio album from the Icelandic band, released April 2021 by Napalm Records. Fuck, why do I do this myself? Produced at Hjódriti, I think it is, in Iceland. Aside from that, I really don't have a lot of other information, so let's get on to the music. Dave, over to you.
Okay. Yeah, I do have a little story about this. When I discovered this band in 2015 when they released their album Arrival, and I was doing phone interviews with a lot of bands at the time, and I got an interview with the guitarist organized. And I really fucked up the first question. I'm just like, hey, I really love your new album. And I said the previous album that they released. He goes, I think you mean Arrival. I'm like, oh, shit. Sorry, man. But all that aside, it was a really good interview. Learned quite a lot about this band. And like Andrew said, they're from Iceland. The name occasionally appears on festivals around the bottom, medium to bottom. So you might have seen the name, but never bothered to check them out. But take my word for it, they're well worth your time. This album shows a lot of growth to their songwriting and their performances as well. I've been following what they've done since I discovered them 6 years ago now. A lot of diversity in the songs, different tempos, feel, length, mood. It's very riff-driven, psychedelic almost, with 70s influence, but it's far from a rehash of old ideas. They always sound fresh and inspired, and they just keep coming out with different riffs and hooks and melodies, and riffs are really engaging. They'll just draw you in from start to finish, and everything's instantly hooking and memorable. The guitar solos are really melodic, and they just flow seamlessly from the riff into the solo. They're a 3-piece band, and they have a hell of a powerful, big sound. And they all share the writing credits, so they're writing together as a band, and they're really hashing everything out. And I think they've really whittled everything excessive out of the songs before they recorded them, because this is just fucking quality all the way through. I often describe albums as like summer listening and perfect for barbecues and drinking. This is kind of the opposite. This is like nighttime, storm clouds, nice earthy elements. This is winter time listening. You put some headphones on, watch the fucking clouds coming towards you. Yeah, it's that type of feeling for me. The production is great sounding album. This would be perfect for vinyl. And judging by the length of the poly double, I guess this was amazing. Whispers, Crystallize, this one's for you, which is a really cool slow one. And you got an epic track called Forgotten. Torn in Two, which has a killer guitar solo. And it's a really nice closer to the album called Clarity. That one just winds everything down nicely.
What'd you give it again? I probably laughed over you when you said that.
9 out of 10.
9. Cool. All right. For those wanting to check it out, I'm going to put a link in the comments and it's in the description as well if you want to go and check it out there. So I'm going to do that now while Tim carries on with his review. How'd you go with it, Tim?
All right. Never heard of the band before and was blown away.
Nice.
Yeah, this is so good. It's kind of like, because I was trying to think of ways to describe it and bands to compare it to, and the only way I could really do it was, it's kind of like the early Baroness rhythm section.
That's pretty,
with kind of like a Volbeat melody on the top.
Yeah.
Kind of it's heavy enough to appeal to the underground folks, but it's also got like a wonderful melody over the top of it. But then they've also got like this Pink Floyd lead guitar work going on as well. That's kind of like, you know, it's the icing on the cake. You know, it's that little sweet touch at the top that just finishes it off beautifully. It's a very well written record. Every note is hashed out to perfection. Like Dave said, they're really honing everything in. It's all killer, no filler.
Yep.
And there's very little to criticize about this. Like, you're getting into the nitty gritty of like the track order, where everything you want to hear comes next. Yeah. The melodies are beautiful. It punches you right when it needs to. And then when it draws back when it needs, it's an incredibly well-written album. Nice. Anybody who's into sort of proggy hard rock, that's not I shouldn't say proggy hard rock, because it's not really, because it's more accessible than that, you know, as well, with that wonderful chorusy stuff on the top. So, look, anybody should check this out. This is a great band. I'll be looking into their earlier work as well, because this is awesome. Crystallize is my highlight, 9.5 out of 10.
Nice. Cool. Nice. I get the feeling that, what you guys said about they've cut all the fat and made it really lean, but you can tell the jam band element is still in there underneath it all too. Like, there's some good long songs. They know when to not overdo it too, and they have these glorious moments where they open things up. Like there's a particular moment that really stood out to me in one of the earlier tracks. This one's for you, and Clarity had a nice softer touch on this one. But on the Crystallized track, there's like a jazz lounge kind of moment in the third of that song as well. They've got lots of little cool spots. It's like watching a really good wrestling match in a way, because you got the heavy hits, but then you got the spaced out parts in between that really bring the drama, and when the punch comes in, it has impact. So it's really, really well composed and performed. For a 3-piece, this is huge. The production's fantastic. All in all, I would put this as classic rock with a bit of doom or fuzz to it. It's ballsy, great riffs on this. Some of the riff work is fucking fantastic. And I like how they've ridden the compressor pretty hard, but not too hard. There's only 1 or 2 clips here and there, nothing bad on this one. And but at the same time, they've kept all this warmth in the sound, which is really cool. Like, this is a really inviting thing to listen to. You can listen to this on your speakers, on your headphones. It's going to sound great in your car, whatever you want to do, and it's going to really suck you in. So maybe that's what Dave was talking about, where you sit down, watch the storm roll in, and this is the album for that. But it's that might sound depressing, but it's actually an uplifting listen at the same time. This is really upbeat in emotion kind of thing. It's not a party album, but you feel good listening to this one. It's an uplifting kind of
thing. It's
a
warm hug.
It is. That's a good way to put it. The opening track is a fucking blister of whispers. I fucking love it. And the harmonies that came in right on toward the end of that song as well, impressive. Like that was cool. If you like bands, what have I got down here? I like Ghost, Incubus, El Colosso, probably Fuck the Fitzroy Doomsday from another local band. If you like bands like that, that's a pretty like the Incubus stuff is more the Wish You Were Here kind of or Morning View era kind of a sound, but that's only a few bits and pieces. Like this is a melting pot of all those sorts of genres, and they've done it incredibly well. It doesn't sound like any of those ones, but you can hear sort of reference points, if you will, linking back to that. This is really easy to repeat spin. I like the lyrics, great storytelling, like complete stories, well written, well told, but it's not in your face or anything. It's just really nicely done. Yeah, fuck, I love the peaks and troughs, the tempo changes. It's a great album, an hour long. It's perfect, I think. Normally I get a little bit tired when they go for this sort of long, but this was really, really well done. Not boring. I think it's one of those ones that's going to be sneaky good too. I think it's one of those ones that'll, for me, it might end up in the top 10 because between now and the end of the year, you're going to hear it more and go, okay, yeah, this really is going to stand up the more time you spend with this one. I get that feeling already. Listen to it now. But anyway, for me, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I picked Whispers, Can't Get You Off My Mind, and Hell. So between us, we've got some pretty different standouts there, I think. But that was a very cool album. And if you're in the THRS Lounge, that's generally why that one got the go around this time around, because a few people said they were going to check it out. So there we go.
A really good album.
It's a great album. Heading back to our comment section, which is always fraught with danger. Tough has jumped in to say, I just watched that Screwdriver link. Did the guy use his dentist because of his drilling technique? I don't know. I guess we watched the video.
Drilling takes place in hell.
Yeah. Helen's here still. I concur. Yes, they're melodic and good production. I agree across this particular album. Nice. Good to have your agreement there. Here we go. Tough's jumped in. It's cool to listen to those link while you talk about them. Gives the words more impact. Great reviewer. Thank you for the kind words there. So likes our reviews and likes the way it all plays out. Cool. And Helen's jumped in to say Crystallize, bloody good knackers. Yes, that is a killer fucking song. And Tough has jumped back in to say it's nice, but I need more aggression. And yes, I gathered from your metal trolling through. This isn't a Metalhead's album, but at the same time, I think if you're a Metalhead, you'll find some stuff in here to enjoy too, though. I think the composition is really it'll drag you in. It's something about it. It's seductive in the way that one goes about it. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Now I'm all right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link in first before we start the next album.
This is the shit fight album.
This is where the comment section could become the proverbial and really go to shit. We'll see. So here we go. Sally's jumped in and said, yes, link's coming. Yes, here we go. So the next link here is Greta Van Fleet with Heat Above. We're going to talk about the new album from them now. And this is going to, I don't know where this is going to go because the last review we did of these guys went for about an hour. And we're not going to take long now. We're going to get through this one much faster than that. So don't think, fuck, we're not going to spend that long on it. But this is Greta Van Fleet with The Battle at Garden's Gate. 12 tracks for 63 minutes. The second studio album the American band released April 2021 via Lava and Republic Records. Produced by Greg Kirsten. 4 singles have so far been released, including My Way Soon and Age of Machine, with My Way Soon topping the Billboard Rock Chart. This album is one of the most anticipated across a lot of outlets in 2021. And apparently work began on this as soon as the previous album was finished, I think in 2018 or 19 from memory. So who wants first crack at this one? Anyone? All right.
Yeah,
go on.
All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to answer the definitive questions. Does this one still sound like Led Zeppelin? Much less.
Yeah, much less.
However, that also means it's not as good.
Yep.
You know, like, I never quite understood the Zeppelin criticism because if my band sounded like Led Zeppelin, I think it was the greatest compliment ever.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like, yeah, if I could play drums like John Bonham, I would not be doing this show.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, what I will say is I actually loved the opening track, Heat Above. I thought that was a great. I loved it. I thought it was a great rock song. However, after that, there is another comparison with Greta Van Fleet, is that they kind of are a classic rock band with Dungeons and Dragons influence. And rather than leaning into the Zeppelin thing, they leaned into that, kind of like the softer parts of Tolkien.
Yeah.
As opposed to, more debates in Elfland rather than,
this is
Wars in Mordor.
The Ents talking to the hobbits as opposed to throwing the ring into Mount Doom.
Exactly. And I found it kind of a self-indulgent wank, to be honest. Outside of the first track, I thought the first track was really good.
Okay.
But apart from that, I thought it was just just fluff.
Yep.
We've seen little bits and pieces of this in their previous albums, but I thought they had better songs around the fluff to kind of, cover up for that, and no better songs sounded like Zeppelin. But with this one, it's just all kind of random noises and wailing for the sake of it. I suggest they're probably doing that to get away from the Led Zeppelin tag, and that kind of backfired because without that, they're not as good. So yeah, I'll probably give it a 2. Because again, I gave the last album a 9.
Yeah, you did like the last one.
And I liked the first track. I think it was a great first track. But after that, this thing kind of sucks.
Right. Okay. Dave, do you agree or are you going to rebut?
This will be interesting. I wasn't in the previous review, and I don't think I've seen it, but I've seen bits of Mick complaining about this album very passionately. I did see that. Yep. I've heard lots of talk about this band. I listened to the previous album a couple of times. It was good, but I wouldn't say I was a fan of the band. I could appreciate the album. It was a good listen. This one actually won me over.
Wow.
It's obvious these guys grew up listening to their parents' record collection, which I think is awesome. Can't think of a better place to discover music than listening to classic. In 2021, there are a few types of music fans. There's the older rock fan who's like, this band is shit. They don't sound anything like Led Zeppelin, or they don't sound anything like AC/DC. They're usually the same person that says, this band's shit. They sound too much like Led Zeppelin and AC/DC. There's no fucking originality. It's big shit. Then there is the younger fans who are discovering music for the first time, who listen with fresh ears and don't have years and years of musical knowledge that most of us old fuckers have. Those who discover this band that are like that are more likely to go back and see what other bands are around, both contemporary and the bands that inspired this, which I think is fantastic. If this is accessible to kids, fantastic. At the start of the album, I could hear the Zeppelin influence. It's an influence. They're not ripping off anything.
Yeah. No,
taking it into a new direction, which I think is cool. Within a couple of, by the second or third song, I couldn't hear that influence anymore. I just heard this band, Greta Van Fleet. And the singer's certainly got a powerful voice on him. And he can put some emotion and he can project, which I find is very cool. Some people prefer the harsher vocals of modern metal and rock, but I like singers. He's not. I can see a comparison to Robert Plant, but he's his own person. There's the style he's got. As far as writing songs go, these guys know how to develop dramatically, like a slow build. A song can start in one place, and by the end of the song, it's at a different place. And I really like that slow development rather than just a quick hit from one place to the other, and now we're kicking into like double time or whatever. It's a slow build, and I thought that was very cool songwriting. Overall, it's all captured really well and mixed really well. I have to point out the acoustic guitars; they sounded really nice when they came along. And the more I listened to it, the more I enjoyed it. I get 7.5 out of 10. Not the best band in the world, but not terrible. I'm not going to write them off, and I'm not going to criticize them just because they're popular. I think that's cool. It stands for Heat About, Broken Bells, Age of the Machine, Terms of Rain, and Barbarians.
Okay, cool. Got a few comments coming through, which I'll get to those after I finish my little spiel on this, because if I do want to use it for TV, I'll have to not waffle too much. Look, I think the opening track, which is it reminded me of like Cat Stevens performing with a sermon background. That kind of set the tone for me with this record.
You say it like it's a bad thing.
I like Cat Stevens, but I thought, man, that the opening with the organ was just like fucking really as an opening track. It didn't grab me. I appreciate it in the on the repeat spin more than just as an album opener, if that makes sense. But I'll get to all that in a second. Look, for me, it's much less Led Zeppelin, a bit more Cat Stevens / Joni Mitchell, and it's a sedate listen. They don't move the needle too much. There's a lot of organ and vocals versus guitar and drums in this one, which I don't mind any of those things. And they've deliberately, you do some research on this, they've deliberately gone away from the Led Zeppelin vibe because of how much talk that generated on the last one. I don't blame them for feeling the pressure to do that, but I do feel that by them avoiding it, they've cut off the dynamics an album needs to really make it engaging as a listen. That when you do the digging, I was saying they say their roots are much more in the folk music than the Led Zeppelin hard rock kind of vibe, and this one shows more of that for me. Like we were talking about, it's the Hobbits and the Ents talking versus the Flans of Mordor. This kind of what Tim's going to say something now.
Finish your thing.
All right, cool. Look, it's big, it sparkles, the production's pretty bloody good on this. Lots of, cathedral reverbs, very bright overall tone, especially with his vocal. His vocal is fucking way up there. It's a really high-pitched vocal. Don't listen to this on things like earbuds and things. You've got to listen to this properly through speakers or good headphones. Don't do the shitty in-ear things for this. It's not going to reward you. It's going to feel pretty painful after a little while. I like the vintage guitar tone on it. Like, it's all performed well, written well, all that sort of stuff. But the lyrics, they've matured in that regard. They've told some stories, but left it with that sort of open vagueness. So they're not dictating a particular story. So it gives you a feeling versus a narrative, if that makes sense. And I think that they've settled more into what we're going to get from these guys. I don't think we're going to go more back into the heavy rock side of things. Not that we're all that heavy, but they're going to move more in this direction. I think this is more naturally them. I don't know. If you go into this with your expectations set that you're not going to get a Led Zeppelin clone kind of thing, you're going to get something a bit more sedate and very classic. If you like your vintage rock from the 70s, maybe the 60s, you're going to enjoy this record. Things like Iron Butterfly, but less progressive. That kind of vibe is what I get from this one. But at the same time, the first pass will pretty much dictate to you how much you like it or not. But that said, the more I spent time with this one, the more it grew on me. It took me a few listens to really, sort of get into it. This is not really a journey of an album. There's not really any peaks and troughs. You just sort of get the same pace. So it's more like a stroll through a field of flowers. That's what this feels like when you're listening to this record for mine. Not a bad thing, but I think they could have cut a couple of songs in this to stop the length from dragging out the way it did too. I think an hour is too long for this. Bring it back to the 45-minute mark. There's a couple of filler tracks in this that really could have been cut. Like I said, good if you know what you're in for. So go with your expectations set. If you've got that, then you'll be okay. If you don't know that, you might find this to be a bit of a plotter, like I did too. Overall, though, not bad. 7 out of 10. My Way Soon, Stardust Chords, and Age of Machine were my standouts on this one. So we've got some comments to go to in a second, but Tim, you wanted to say something there. So you're reaching to speak. What did you want to say?
When there's an obvious influence, nothing pisses me off more than when bands deny it.
Well, yeah.
It's like when like fucking Andrew Stockdale was like, yeah, I don't listen to Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath. It's just like every fucking Wolfmother song's a Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath ripoff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, just we've all got influences. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. I reckon own it. Like, fucking
exactly.
Made a living out of it, so why the fuck can't anyone else?
As much as Oasis pissed people off, I've never seen Noel Gallagher go, I've never listened to the Beatles.
Well, yeah, exactly.
This is fucking obvious. Of course, every fucking song's the Beatles ripoff.
There you go.
That's the only bit.
You should say that admin. But yeah. All right. So we got a few comments coming through on all this. So the Watcher Collects Comics is a new one from YouTube. So thanks for joining us on YouTube. Watching the clip, it's The Darkness meets ABBA, perhaps. It's the opening track, I think, is what we're talking about.
That's a fair comparison, actually.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Helen's still with us, so thank you for staying with us. Don't kill me, but the opening track sounds like Frank Ocean Nights, only the instrumental. So there's some feedback on the opening one. Darren Humphrey said the first album sounded like Kingdom Come, not Led Zeppelin. Yeah, all right. New one, Chuka from Hey Crew Rock On from up in Cabba, New South Wales. Uncle Eunice. Okay, cool. No, it's cool. We're getting some new people. I like getting new people jumping into the comments. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully you're enjoying the show up there in New South Wales. Sally, our good friend Sally, they got kicked to half of the Zeppelin thing. They moved in the sound, but they aren't as after interested, and you can hear it. I can listen to it, but I go pretty quickly. I think that's a few people will feel like that. And Darren Humphreys jumped in again. The video clip looks like they're going for a David Bowie vibe. I haven't watched the video yet. It's just the most recent one, so that might be true. To each Tough on YouTube. So that comment came from Facebook on YouTube. Tough jumped in and said they also need to stop stealing David Bowie's clothes. So running through with all that. And Sammy G Banger has joined us once again. Thank you for joining us once again. Hey guys, don't know if you're fans of Mr. Bungle, but check out the latest album, completely different to the others. Yes, we did cover that one earlier on with Bill talking about looking for the new metal stuff. Tuff's back on the Greta Van Fleet stuff. After watching some more songs, interesting feel to them. Cool. They have an interesting style. Nice. And here we go. Marcus Rodriguez, another new face. I don't think we've seen you on the show before, so thank you for jumping in and watching and commenting. He said Greta Van Fleet steals, quote unquote, from Led Zeppelin the same way Led Zeppelin from the old blues legends. Now that's touche. Exactly. So, yeah, there we go. Well played, well put. I don't think anyone can dispute that because there's a fair bit of that going around all through the eras. Okay, I don't know. Oh, damn, I missed it. What date? I'd like to go back and watch. Oh, the Mr. Bungle one. We check out our Audience Choice Top 10 episode, I believe. We'll be in that Audience Choice Top 10 episode on YouTube. Go and check it out. So that review will be definitely in that episode. It's on YouTube now, so you can go and check that out. It is there. We pull that one for that. But that's
a lot of this.
Sorry,
it was top 5 for the end of last year in the albums of the year for a lot of us. Yeah,
it went well. We loved that one. So yeah, definitely go and check that out, Sammy. It's on YouTube. It'll be a part of our Audience Choice Top 10 of 2020. Up near, I think, around number 3 from memory. I don't know. I could pull it up, but I'm in the middle of doing a bunch of other stuff. So to that end, we are coming toward the end of the show. So thank you all for tuning in. Our details, as always, are in the description of this. So make sure you're following us, like, subscribe, all the usual shit that everyone gets you to do. Find your social media platform of choice and follow us there. Check out our Patreon page. Any help you give us by that is greatly, greatly appreciated. And a big thank you once again to our fantastic sponsors in Squidding, Screen Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in the description of this, whether you're watching live, watching on repeat, or listening later on as well. Thank you, whichever way you're choosing to join us. Hit the links in the description and give them some love like you give us love here on the show. Our next stream's coming up. We have another episode of the Hard Rock Show on Sunday, in theory. Depends on how hungover we all are after Saturday, because someone has a birthday. So we will be, in theory, this will be news for you guys, but in theory, if everything goes to plan, we'll be reviewing the latest from Bottom After Midnight, Gilby Clarke, Liquid Tension Experiment, and also Nunchucker Superfly, which was one that was suggested to us by Nudes. They released an album earlier this year, so we'll go and check that one out. Bit of a longer one, so we'll see how we go with that.
Good name for a band.
It is very good name for a band. Our next interview is on Tuesday, so Tuesday night, tune in for that. That is with the Vendettas, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And then on Thursday, we'll have another episode of Deep Cuts, more on that to come by the time we do the next episode on Sunday. Check us out on TV if you want to see more music and less talk. You can check us out on Thursday nights on 10:30 p.m. on Channel 44 in Adelaide, like that is tonight in an hour from now. Go on, or hour and a half now. They're half an hour behind us, so yeah, hour and a half from now. Go and check out that on Channel 44 in Adelaide. And Saturday nights, 10:30 p.m. on Channel 31 in Melbourne. This week on Channel 31 is our 2-hour special dedicated to Michael Gudinski. So go and check that out. Our next end of month special after this one, which is already done, will be at the end of May, and that is to do with grunge. So that is all of the usual stuff there. Helen, she's on fire. If I'm not washing my hair, I'll tune in. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Your hair must be, if it must be sacrificed, then we will greatly appreciate it. We'll see how we go. Sally's gone, thanks, guys. And tough metalhead unit with the medal. Yes, that is true. Here we go. All right. So now it's time for our fun part of the week. We've done all the silly stuff. So now it's time to move on to the bin. All right, which way I'm doing it? That way. I've got to get used to the reverse mirror or camera on this one. All right, so let's go to Dave first, seeing as Tim went on the last review. Dave, what do you got for the bin this week?
Okay, something I'm sure everyone will agree with. Roadworks, detours. I'm going to leave 5 minutes early for work. I live very close to my work, and it's annoying having to drive for 10 minutes rather than 5. I know I'm seriously out, but it's annoying. And we live in 2021. Why the fuck aren't there flying cars? Come on.
No more Jetsons for you.
But yeah, flying cars would be awesome. More flying cars, less roadwork detours. But I know it's important, but I can't bitch about it.
Do you honestly trust the people that are driving cars today to fly cars?
Could you imagine how fucked up that would be?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Imagine, like, you know those World's Worst Driver TV shows? How fucked up this
Okay.
So I lost control of this car, and I somehow ended up in the second story of some building.
Imagine the pit maneuvers the cops be trying to do, the nudges at the back end trying to knock this thing out of the fucking sky, and the collateral damage that'll come from that.
Drunk driving would be fantastic.
God, imagine a breakdown.
That would be interesting to say the least. On a funny note, I think Uber are planning on things like Ubering, like
something
aircraft, like drone-based kind of stuff. But yeah, that's the thing coming. There's building plan stuff. I've seen it before. Years ago.
Like Pizza Hut were planning that years ago, and nothing happened with it.
Yeah, but the ones behind Uber are pretty big players. Big engineering firms are involved in it, so it might take a few years, but I think it'll come out. See what happens. Anyway, Tim?
This is going to affect me and not much else, but people who release unreleased video games, it's painful enough getting a game and then doing the fucking 3-hour download straight after you bought it, but fucking having like 20 gig download like 6 months after it's released, like fuck off.
Yeah.
No one cares at this point. Like just leave it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's annoying.
I agree. It's interesting how that one played out. It's a particular game you're talking about there that everyone was talking about at the time?
No, not one that everyone's talking about, but still NBA 2K21.
Okay. I have to get Brendan on, see if he agrees with you, because he plays that one as well.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I will get to the audience. We've got some audience bins here in a second too. There's one here that I do have to nod here quickly though. Yeah, Tim, you're right. Surely Andrew's footy tipping goes in the bin. Yep, it's absolutely fucked this year. Absolutely fucked. I'm dead last in our tipping competition, so thanks for bringing that to my attention. I'll just go with the excuse that I'm too fucking busy doing other shit. But yeah, I suck this year badly. But my bin, on that note, is just general tiredness. This week has been fucked for me, so I'm putting being tired when I've got so much shit to do in the bin, because it's just, yeah, that's how much thought I've got left for this sort of stuff at the moment. I need a good night's sleep, and I'm hopefully going to get that later tonight. But yeah, that's my bin for this week. As lame as that is, that's how I feel. Now we have to go, like, this is fun. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Yeah, so Tim put my tipping in the bin. That's dead set true, so thank you for that. Hey, Tim, how are you going in it? Because you're the reigning champion. Where are you sitting at the moment?
Me, I am, I think, 6 behind the leader.
Ouch.
Look. We're at round 6 now.
Yeah, there's still time.
Things don't normally settle down until probably around 12, 13. The guys that are at the top now will end up at the bottom, because let's face it, if you tip 9 in round 1, you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yep.
And I think when I won last time, I was second or third, and won on the last round. So, that's how tipping works, man.
Yep. I've won previous competitions before all this sort of stuff on the last run as well, so it can happen that way.
Yeah, things you don't know where you are until around 16, 17. So
Cool. Nudes Nool has gone the bin. WWE for firing Bo Dallas. Anyone?
Hell
agree?
yeah.
Yeah.
And Samoa Joe as well. How the fuck do you not know what to do with Samoa Joe?
Hey, if AEW pick him up, then I'm glad.
Yeah.
He could go anywhere.
Yeah, he's a
AEW. He's a former Ring of Honor World Champion. He's a former Impact World Champion. I'm sure New Japan would pick him up as soon as the border closes.
He'd go well there too, actually.
He would. Just a big, thick dude who likes to beat people up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he could go anywhere.
Yep. Helen has gone because they can't get to 150 kilometers in third. That's why I drive a racing car. That's going back to the bin with the roadworks. Conrad's jumped in on this saying, exactly, where's my flying car? So Dave getting a lot of love for the flying cars tonight. Stuff from YouTube has gone, I got roadworks, top of roadworks. I'm working on my own tunnel to work. If you want to use it, just you need to listen to metal. So, yep, there we go. And as a contrast to the flying cars in the Jetsons, we have the tubes in Futurama as a solution to this problem.
That would be something.
Tough, the roads by Metallica. Sorry?
I'm going to dig my own hole to work. That'd be fantastic.
When you're driving the roads, and Tough is also binning Cyberpunk, which is the one everyone thought you're probably talking about. But yeah, NBA can get in there too. Darren Humphreys, the bin, government restrictions for the veterans on Anzac Day commemorations, yet allowing footy at 75% capacity. Without veterans, there will be no footy. Very good point.
Yeah,
there is a lot of conversation going on about that at the moment.
I think, there's a reasonable conversation to do with indoor music venues.
Yeah.
But I think, when you're talking about outdoors and the march and whatnot, like they fucked up there.
Yeah, that was a silly call. I don't think that's the right one at all. And then put the NBN in the fucking bin. Agree. There's a reason why I use fucking Vodafone hotspot to do this one, because I can't trust my Telstra NBN. And Helen's gone third world problems. These are a lot of first world problems. And this is good. Tim and I will be all over this, I'm sure. Bin Dave, I don't know if you'll be aware of this one at all. There'll be some fucking filling in for you to do on this one.
That's what happens when you put evangelicals in charge of shit.
Yeah, basically. Dave, long story short, they were trying to basically sex education using milkshakes and tacos.
It ended up with a guy getting milkshake all over his face.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was he alone?
No. Tuff's going, by the way, who wants my milkshake? I don't know if we're able to give that out at this point in time.
To be honest, I did walk away from that thinking, God, I haven't had a milkshake in years. I should get a milkshake.
The thing is, right, the thing costs millions of dollars, apparently. I have heard different figures disputing that, but the general figure seems like $3.8 million, and it's already been pulled from the website. It's already gone. It lasted 24 hours and fucked off. So, well done to the government on fucking everything up that they touch. Don't vote for these guys again, please, to get political there for a second. Helen, sincerely, top marks for staying up so late to talk shit. You're more than welcome. Thank you for staying with us. This is what we love to do, so it's easy for us to do it. But this is a bit of a longer one, so we should start to wrap this one up. Tough also wants his tacos, so there we go. He needs some taco loving. We all need that. He's on fire. He's gone, sex is confusing enough. Now I bring food into the bed. Yep, this is the problem with the conversation that was had with those videos. It's fucking
like George Costanza with his fucking pastrami sandwich.
Oh, fuck. We are off the rails. We've gone longer than usual. Hopefully you've all enjoyed this episode. I think it's about time to start wrapping this up, though, before we go way, way, way off the topic. But, yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been great to see some regulars and some new faces in here tonight, so we look forward to more. Our next one is on Sunday if everything goes to plan. Like I said, depends on how hungover people are on Sunday after Saturday, so you'll find out more about that on the weekend. But, yeah. Tune in, drink up, rock on. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. And yeah, thanks for all the comments. It's been really, really fun. I'm still waiting for that description on the size that we had at the very start of the episode, but in the comments later on, we'll see how we go with that. But anyway, for now, that's it. We'll see you all again soon. Until then, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
And Tim,
As always,
Drink up.
rock on.
now we do the little 1x1 thing. So it's bye-bye Twitter. Bye-bye Twitter. And then we go from that one to bye-bye to YouTube. See you, tough.